So I recently started going back to church, and I also very recently started reading the Bible. I want to be more familiar with the Bible, and I want to put more focus on my faith because I don't think I've put enough in it over the last few years. But you'd be surprised what you would learn from the Bible. Now, I'm very early on in the Bible, okay? So I think I'm on like Genesis chapter 17. But in one of the chapters in Genesis, let me actually back up a little bit. In science class, and when you're a kid, you learn about Neanderthals and other primates that led up to the Homo sapiens, aka humans, right? Now, when you read Genesis, in the beginning, it talks about how God had taken, his 7 days to create the earth and everything on it. And he created all of the animals and all of the other creatures on the earth before he created Adam. And at one point in the Bible, after he created Adam, he gave Adam the right to name all of the creatures, whether they walked on earth or they flew in the sky or they swam in the ocean. He allowed Adam to name all of the creatures and animals on the earth. He gave that task, he delegated that to Adam. And after all of that had happened and Adam was still lonely, he then, created Eve out of one of Adam's ribs. Okay? But think about it. What if science is really just explaining and proving how God exists? If you really get down into the grand scheme of things, because yes, all of these other animals did come before Adam. And then Adam arrived and he named all of them because he was delegated that by God. So then if you look at it in that sense, we technically were not derived from any sort of, primates. We were made by God, by God's hands. But he had made everything that lived before us, quite literally before he made the very first human, the very first Homo sapien. Think about that. Let it sit for a while. If you're a believer, then maybe you'll know where I'm going with this. If you're not, maybe you'll debate me on the science and so on and so forth of it. And that's fine. I'm not throwing this out there to make anyone agree with me. I'm just throwing it out there as food for thought. It wasn't just evolution. It was the stages of God's creation that all led to where we are today. That all led to Adam, that all led to Eve. And so science calls it one thing. We, being religious and believing in God and believing in his creation, call it just that. Creation. Not evolution, but creation. It's interesting, isn't it?